good Tuesday morning. There are so many days as a sports fan where you suffer, where your heart is broken, where the outcome isn't where you want it to be. Last night and this morning, not one of those times. And we got to soak up every bit of this, boy. It does not get any better than that. A sweep of the Nets by the Celtics. 4-0. Not even a shot. You put this team together, the whole Nets fan base comes out of the ground, gets all cocky. Oh, the Knicks are nothing. Oh, Kevin Durant chose the Nets over the Knicks. Oh, cry about it, Knicks fans. You guys suck. This is the biggest embarrassment in the history of New York sports, and you guys just got here. Give me a break. You're an embarrassment to the borough. You're an embarrassment to the city. You should go back to New Jersey. And the Mets had a phenomenal comeback last night. Doesn't get any better than that either. 2 strikes, 2 outs, and they battle back. Buck ball lives. Scherzer set the tone. They come back, storming back. We're going to have a great morning, man, I tell you. I was looking forward to this. I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning. I was just thinking of Jason Tatum the entire time in my dreams. Good morning, Boomer. How are you? Oh, that too. I know you're fired up about that. We'll get to that at some point.
I have to say that I was waiting to hear what your open. All right, Eddie, I'm ready. I was waiting to hear what your open was going to be, and I had a feeling that you were going to be just absolutely go off on the Nets, and you should. I mean, it's a soulless team. It's a team that, who's one of its superstars only played 29 regular season games this year. And the audacity of the coach to say, I think our guys ran out of gas.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
You barely played.
You know what? This is a colossal failure on so many levels. And it's been going on for 3 years. I mean, like, the Nets traded for a guy that didn't play. Mm-hmm. They signed a guy 3 years ago that didn't play. They signed another guy that decides to play when he wants to play and doesn't seem to care like when he is playing. It is the amount of money that this franchise has spent in the upper echelon of talent in the NBA, not to mention the disaster that was James Harden when he finally got here. Then they had to get rid of him. It is a monumental failure, unlike any other failure I think that we have ever seen, given the amount of money and drama and BS that has gone around this team, or on around this team for 3 straight years. And now comes, okay, Kyrie will at worst opt into a final year of his deal, or are they going to give this maniac a contract extension for what?
Oh, probably. I'll tell you for what, because Kevin Durant wants him there, and they're tied to Kevin Durant.
That's why. At the end of the day, you can say whatever you want. Kevin Durant's a great basketball player. Kevin Durant is a basketball player. What Kevin Durant needs is a freaking coach to tell them what to do and how to do it and to play as a team, kind of like the way Boston played as a team. And I know Jason Tatum deserves all the credit and the accolades and all that other stuff because he's really, truly a star. But there's a guy that really, truly, in my mind, reflects who the Celtics were, at least in this series, and that is Marcus Smart. That guy is just an absolute animal on the basketball court, and he was not going to lose this series. Now, I don't necessarily know that they even expected that they were going to sweep them, but they probably felt like after winning Game 3, this team's given up. This team is basically quit. And, they made a little run at the end of the game and all that other stuff. But Marcus Smart is a guy that, to me, is a true heart and soul leader of a team. I don't know how far they'll go, but you just saw a group of guys that are well-coached, well-prepared, are a big team, are a team that's put together the correct way. So you have a novice coach. You have a general manager that's swimming in the pool of NBA sharks and has gotten bitten about 15 different times over the last 3 years. And you have a team that's just about stars and they don't play together, as opposed to a team that has its own stars but plays better together, better defensively, was so much more well coached in this particular series that this is the money that they spent on this team.
Oh, this is everything that you can't stand.
For 3 years.
Yeah, this is everything you can't stand about pro sports in the NBA just settling in one place and watching it fail. It's just so satisfying. It just really is. I mean, and Kevin Durant, I don't dislike Kevin Durant. I mean, he gets a little chippy. He's got an edge about him. He goes back and forth with people on Twitter, whatever. He gets into it with the Knicks fans. Sometimes that annoys me. But for the most part, I got respect for him. But after this series, I mean, my goodness. I mean, I know he played better last night, but this is a guy who basically needs two superstars operating at the highest level for him to get to an NBA Finals playing with him. I mean, that's what his career has been. And Kyrie Irving basically having a great game one and then not showing up the rest of the series and sitting there hugging and smiling people and talking about after the game how him and Kevin are going to manage this team going forward.
Oh, Jesus.
We're going to manage this team.
Come on.
What? What have you done to deserve any of that? I mean, this is why I say everything that you can't stand about today's NBA superstar has manifested itself at the Barclays Center, and then watching them flame out like this is the greatest thing ever. I mean, it's more. Now, for us, the Knicks and the Nets and how much we can't stand the Nets because of the Knicks thing and how they chose the Nets over the Knicks and the perceived disrespect. There's that. But I really think nationally, people love this. They absolutely love this. No one wants to see these guys succeed. And to go out like this and meekly, you get swept. I mean, it was supposed to be the best, 7 seed in the history of the world. The Boston Celtics were caught a bad break. My ass. You got swept. You got the freaking Pelicans playing their ass off. They're under 500. I know that Devin Booker's out, but still. I mean, the Nets got swept. It's the great. I couldn't even draw up a better situation. Them losing in the play-in round would have not been this satisfying. There was something about them running into the Celtics and the Celtics steamrolling them that was just the perfect ending to this story. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's going to get better because Kyrie's still going to be Kyrie and Ben Simmons is still going to be Ben Simmons. So, what are you going to do? Honestly, who are you going to surround those guys with that are going to make them the players they need to be to win a championship? I know Kyrie's done in the past, but he did it with one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, but he's getting older, and he was exhausted because he only played 29 games this year. I mean, come on, man, this is like that old. It's like the old what do they call it? Soap opera?
Yeah,
Peyton's Place.
Okay,
I mean, this is like Durant's place. I mean, and Kevin's a great player, and I don't want to take anything away from him. But the problem is this is what happens when players have way too much influence, and the coaches just sit there essentially babysitting them and coming up for excuses after the game about all of this. That this team has spent so much money over the last 3 years, and I go back to that because that is a big part of this. And there have guys that they haven't even played. I mean, think about.
James Harden came here, didn't play for one full season. Ben Simmons comes in that deal. He doesn't even play. I mean, Kevin Durant, of course, we know didn't play a full year. Kyrie Irving this year and last year barely played.
Well, and the year before when they were in the bubble, he quit on him.
I mean, it's
he quit on him in the bubble. He quit on them.
And then, but the odds makers still had them as like an NBA Finals favorite. Because of the talent that they had, it just shows you that it takes so much more than that.
And Sean Marks has got to just be. I mean, he was lauded for bringing all these guys here, and I really was a big Sean Marks fan because I felt like he was bringing some sanity to the Brooklyn Nets coming out of the whole Billy King regime and everything that he had to do to get the team to a certain spot in terms of name recognition when they opened the Barclays Center. And so Billy King was told, do this, do that, do this, get names in here so we could sell tickets and make it this legitimate franchise. And I kind of understand a little bit of what Billy King went through. But then they bring Sean Marks in from the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to draft. We're going to build. We're going to do this. And then, of course, Joe Tsai takes over for Prokhorov. And then the next thing it is, now we got to go get the stars again. And, and again, this is why, like, the Knicks have Worldwide West. Because they want to attract some star to come here to tell the coach to go screw. And to me, I feel bad for Steve Nash. He's a Hall of Fame basketball player. He'll know more basketball than I'll ever know. But what the NBA is dealing with, basically, guys that are malcontents, guys that want to show up, guys that don't really care, guys that all they want to do is get their big money contract extensions, fly around in their private jets, do whatever they want to do. Let James Harden go wherever he wants to go, just as long as he shows up, probably 10 pounds overweight and doesn't really care, doesn't want to play defense. I mean, this is why I worry about the Knicks. The Knicks got a good young nucleus. They need to trade Julius Randle. You know, I was thinking the other day, maybe the Lakers will take him back or something. You know, who knows? But I want young players. I want guys like Marcus Smart. I want guys like Jason Tatum. I want guys like, you know, R.J. Barrett and Obi Toppin. And I want guys like that give a damn, that want to play hard, and they want to show that they actually care about what they're doing. That's exactly what the Celtics did in this series. That's exactly what the young Knicks players did towards the end of the year. This is about as big an embarrassment of a professional sports team around here. And I know a lot of teams around here have had their issues, but no team has spent the amount of money per player that this team has spent over the last 3 years and have gotten guts out of it.
Prior to the James Harden deal, the Brooklyn Nets were still the favorite to win the NBA title. That was this year.
Why?
This year they were still the favorite. I don't know why, because of the talent that they had, basically. They were still the favorite. To go from being, at any point, the favorite to win an NBA title to getting swept in the first round, I mean, just doesn't happen. I mean, and then to trade, to have James Harden force himself out of here, and to only get back someone even more complicated and bizarre than Ben Simmons, who is, I think it's fair to say that he may never play again. Like, if he took an entire year off for multiple issues, and then every time he got close to playing, something else cropped up. I don't know if he'll ever play again.
He couldn't even sit on the bench last night.
No, he couldn't. Well, I think that was the right move, actually, quite frankly.
Why?
After the way that whole thing went down and he was getting roasted, him showing up there dressed like, Mr. Fashionista and everything else, the way he's been dressed, there's no way he could have done that. There's just no way. With them getting swept, it just would have been an exclamation point on top of it that the Nets didn't need.
You know what? I know that you were getting great joy out of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew I couldn't wait to get here this morning just to be a part of the joy that you are exuding this morning. This is like a happy show. And by the way, it is a winner's Tuesday. I mean, the Mets did win last night.
Yep, of course.
And Scherzer did what Scherzer's supposed to do, and the Mets obviously, took care of business late in the game last night. I kind of knew that Trevor May was just going to go in there and just screw this whole thing up because, you go from Scherzer to Trevor May, and of course you give up 2 runs. And unlikely, the Mets win in the top of the 9th inning last night, and they do it in spectacular fashion, albeit a couple infield hits and
Nolan Arenado throwing the ball around, Dom Smith diving into first base. I mean, it was Mark Canha getting the bat on the ball when he needed two strikes, 2 outs. I mean, it was tremendous.
I don't know. The amazing thing is you watch some of these other NBA playoff series.
Yeah,
you got guys going after each other.
Yeah,
I mean like the Nets were a doormat. A doormat.
They're already out. I mean, it's unbelievable. You see some of these other teams that didn't have, half the talent on them, didn't have half the expectations that are out there, tying the series up, playing hard, playing defense, scrappy, all these things. Scrappy teams. You got the Nets already out. I mean, Kyrie Irving's already on some sort of political Zoom call this morning talking about God knows what. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is.
Kevin Durant, enjoy Twitter the rest of the postseason, buddy. This is phenomenal.
I gotta want what is Joe Tsai and Sean Marks thinking? Like, we really want to go to like an extension with Kyrie Irving? Are you kidding me?
They will, though. Of course they will. They're married to these guys, man.
Collective mind to do this.
These they've got cement shoes on. Honestly, the left one's Kevin Durant and the right one's Kyrie Irving, and they're going down.
Great basketball player. Never doubt his abilities. He doesn't care. He does not care. He doesn't care about his team. Doesn't care about anything. Just whatever else he wants to get involved in is so much more important.
Oh, yeah.
So the basketball thing is on the list of priorities, which he gets paid $35 million a year and which he wants like a $190 million extension. It's like 5th.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the way he's lived his life. But the Nets are the ones dumb enough to sign up for his journey.
it was interesting. Somebody was telling me yesterday, and a real hardcore basketball fan. I was at this event yesterday, and I was sitting next to a guy, huge hardcore basketball fan, did play basketball in college and everything else. And, and he was watching intently. He's a Bucks fan, a Milwaukee Bucks fan. So, he's obviously watching the Kyrie Kevin thing here just absolutely implode. And, and he was saying to me, he goes, I for the life of me, why anybody would pay Kyrie Irving to play basketball for them, because, he won a championship in Cleveland. And, a lot of people give that championship to LeBron and whatever, because I guess
hit the biggest shot, Kyrie.
Yeah, I know, but Kyrie Irving played killer basketball at the end of a lot of those games that was overshadowed because it was LeBron. They were down 0-3 and they came back and all this other stuff.
3-1, yeah.
Or 3-1. But anyway, he was saying how it was really Kyrie, and for some reason Kyrie got upset that he didn't get enough credit. And I'm like, see, this is the problem. You're on a team. It's not your brand. It's not LeBron's brand. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're playing basketball together as a team, winning a championship as a team. When I look at this team here, I see individuals running around without a plan because they don't want to listen to their coach. What would have happened had Udoka stayed here as coach?
I mean, they would have had a better coaching staff. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the fact that Kyrie Irving really had the audacity after the game to say that him and Kevin Durant are going to manage this team.
I mean, he's completely I want to say he's out there somewhere.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's.
Does he realize what this looks like and what his 3-year career here looks like?
As you just said, I don't think it matters to him that much.
You've invested about $100 million in 3 years of Kyrie Irving, and what have you gotten?
Yeah, nothing.
You got
Embarrassment.
A guy who quit on you when they went in the bubble the first year, and Kevin Durant didn't play. You got a guy that basically disappeared on you in week 2 or year 2, I should say, for. Remember that 10-day disappearance act?
Yeah. We still got no explanation for
right.
that.
And then in year number 3, he didn't want to get the vaccine because he was fighting for the little people.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And played 29 games. And you've given this guy over $100 million. And he has the audacity to sit up there after last night's, oh, by the way, yeah, it was a playoff game, but who cares? We lost it now. We're going to fix this thing.
Yeah, I'm going to manage it. Okay. All right, it's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.